and thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of Cooking with the IAMLA. Food is an integral part of Italian celebrations and gatherings, especially Christmas. And if you grew up in an Italian-American family or community, you're likely familiar with the traditional cookie tray, a constant sight at holidays, weddings, and other special occasions. The cookies you're likely to find in this towering assortment of sweet treats are anginetti, or lemon drop cookies, florentines, thin, lacy cookies accented with chocolate and orange, crunchy biscotti and cantucci of various flavors, pizzelle, elegant wafer-like cookies, pignoli or pine nut cookies, and then of course there are wine spice cookies, amaretti or chewy almond cookies, the crispy chiacchiere, also known as angel's wings and cenci, and other favorites such as butter cookies and the cheery multi-layer rainbow cookies. Today we're going to be preparing another mainstay of the Italian cookie platter, Cuccidati, also known as Cuccidati. These Sicilian fig cookies are usually the first to disappear from the tray. And if you've ever tried these little pillows of fig goodness, you'll understand why. The name Cuccidati likely comes from either the Latin word buccellatum, which means biscuit, or the Sicilian word for bracelet, buccellati, as the cookies are often baked into the shape of large rings resembling bracelets. They are known in Sicily and southern Italy by a number of different names, including vorciudato, papassini, and petralli. Make no mistake though, Cuccidati aren't your ordinary fig cookie, and please don't confuse them with the commercially prepared fig bars that you find in stores. Inside a tender dough, you find a mixture of dried figs, dates, raisins, and nuts, accented with honey or marmalade, chocolate, orange zest, wine or liqueur, and warm, earthy spices. The cookie's ingredients will vary depending on the baker and the town where the recipe originates. Cuccidati have been made for centuries in Sicily. The cookies reveal the culinary legacy of the various cultures, including Greek, Arab, Spanish, and Norman, that influenced the island throughout history. The cookie's main ingredient, figs, are native to Sicily, though some varieties were introduced during the period of Greek rule. The ancient Greeks also introduced grapes to Sicily, and the fruit's sun-dried version, raisins, became an essential part of Sicilian gastronomy. Dates, meanwhile, were first cultivated in Sicily during the Roman era, but it was under Arab rule that production of dates flourished. The Arabs, who have a long tradition of making confections, brought other ingredients used in the cookies, such as pistachios, citrus, and almonds. Marsala wine, which is commonly added to the filling, takes its name from the Sicilian city in which it was created, a place that derives its name from the Arabic words Marsa and Allah, meaning God's harbor. The Spanish, who controlled Sicily from 1554 to 1860, brought chocolate to the island, an ingredient they acquired through their colonization of Mexico. Prior to their expulsion during the Spanish Inquisition, Sicily's Jews were an integral part of the island's sugar industry, which thrived during the 14th century. The warm, earthy spices used to flavor the filling of Cuccidati, such as cinnamon and cloves, came to the island, located at the intersection between Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, via the global spice trade. Making Cuccidati is somewhat of a labor-intensive endeavor. For this reason, the cookies were usually reserved for special occasions, such as Christmas and the Feast of St. Joseph. According to tradition, St. Joseph's miraculous intercession delivered the people of Sicily from a severe drought during the Middle Ages, and the cookies, representing abundance and good health in folk Catholicism, are one of the foods prepared in honor of the saint and displayed on St. Joseph's altars. Just how famous are Cuccidati, you ask? The cookies are so loved that they even have their own festival, Casa Italia, an Italian cultural center near Chicago, presents an annual celebration dedicated to the treat in December. Ask any Italian American with roots in the Mezzogiorno, and they are likely to have a story about their family's Cuccidati recipe. The memory typically centers around a mother, aunt, grandmother, or other matriarch who lovingly prepared the most sublime and satisfying Cuccidati using a generations-old recipe. The cookie's scent and complex flavor never cease to inspire nostalgia. The recipe we are preparing belongs to my great-grandmother and originates in her hilltop village in southwestern Sicily. It was passed down from generation to generation. Making Cuccidati is not nearly as time-consuming as it used to be during the days when the cookie's makers, who were usually women, ground pound after pound of dried fruits and nuts using hand-crank grinders such as this one. Luckily, today we have food processors to help us with this step. Okay, let's get started. You're going to want to begin by preparing the Cuccidati filling. Take 1 pound of raw nuts. We're using a combination of walnuts, pecans, almonds, and hazelnuts. But if you prefer to use only one type, that's fine. We don't suggest using peanuts, however. Pulse the nuts in a food processor until they are the consistency of coarse sand. You will also need a total of 3 pounds of dried figs and dates. You can use most any type of fig. We're using both Kalamata and Nishin figs. These medjool dates are perfect for making Cuccidati. You can also find date paste at some specialty stores, which will save you a little time. Grind the figs and dates in a food processor, adding the dried fruit a little at a time in order to avoid overtaxing the motor. Then grind 1 pound of raisins. Add the dried fruits and nuts to a large pot along with a few squares of dark chocolate, if desired, about a teaspoon of cinnamon, a cup of water and a cup of orange juice, 3/4 cup Marsala wine or a flavored liqueur if desired, along with the zest of 2 oranges. Stir the mixture to incorporate and then allow it to steam for a few minutes, stirring it regularly to prevent it from scorching. While the filling is steaming, prepare the dough. In an electric mixer, cream together 3/4 cup or 1.5 sticks of butter and 1 cup sugar. Then add 2 eggs and a teaspoon vanilla. Sift together 3.5 cups of flour along with 3 teaspoons baking powder and a pinch of salt. Add this dry mixture to the creamed sugar and butter along with 1/3 cup of milk and mix together to form a smooth dough. It should only take a couple minutes. By now, your filling should be finished. The dried fruit and nut mixture should have the consistency of a very thick paste. Begin by flouring your surface generously and then divide the dough into quarters. Take 1 piece of dough and shape it into a long rope. Roll it out to a thickness of about 1/8 of an inch. Once the fig filling has cooled, place it along one edge of the dough in heaping spoonfuls. Having a bowl of water handy will help if your hands get sticky. Fold the edge of the dough around the filling and roll it up, pressing lightly as you go. With a sharp knife, cut the cookies into the size desired, typically a little over 1 inch. You can also form the Cuccidati into rings, making little incisions here and there to allow the filling to vent. Arrange the cookies on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper and bake at 375 degrees until slightly golden. Continue this process with the remaining dough and filling. When the cookies have cooled, frost them with an icing made of 2 cups powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon vanilla, and about 4 tablespoons milk. Use a wire whisk to mix the frosting until it is silky and about the consistency of a thin batter. Spoon the frosting onto the cookies or dip the cuccidati in the frosting, then apply sprinkles or nonpareils if desired. If you're looking to make this recipe ahead, the dough can be refrigerated for up to 4 days and the filling up to 1 week. That's it. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of what we have in store for you. Merry Christmas! Buon Natale, everyone! May your holiday season be warm and bright.